Today we're here visiting West Chicago, a school district, and it has a story about how it really began to work with its English learner population and grow and improve their programs over time to become the showcase that they are today. I'm Karen Garibay-Moliteri from the Latino Policy Forum. We, in 2020, produced a handbook for school leaders that helps them to make wise decisions about their programs for English language learners. And so I really want to start to have a conversation with Gloria Trejo to my right, who is Assistant Superintendent in West Chicago. She's also a board member at the Latino Policy Forum. And Christina Davis Salazar, who is the Acting Superintendent. Welcome, ladies. Thank you so much for being here. So Gloria, as I recall, back in the late 1990s, the district was really struggling to serve its English learners. As a matter of fact, the community was very divided. So the town had been receiving a steady stream of immigrants from Mexico to work in the Campbell Soup Company and to work in the Ball Seed Company. And these immigrants were seen as foreigners. And then the school district was under the Office of Civil Rights Investigation because the programs to serve the children of those immigrants was really not very equitable. So as we think back, do you want to say a few words about that?
Sure. So during that time, I remember we had approximately a little over 40% of our families were Latino that made up the community. As we're trying to serve our students, we didn't have the knowledge, not only our teachers. Our teachers might have had the might have had the coursework, but not enough professional development to provide that instruction to students. Also, our families, even our bilingual families, didn't understand, nor did some of them really see the importance of being bilingual. I think there was a lot of education that really had to be had in order to really support programming, and so that was a big struggle from the beginning, is really ensuring that we were all on the same page. And that takes a lot of time and an education.
So as I recall, West Chicago had a beautiful preschool program, but if you were to walk into a preschool classroom, the little English learners were being instructed all in English, and they couldn't participate and they didn't understand their teachers. Also, I know that we were known for our gifted program, and we had some students within the EL community that were also very gifted and talented, yet they were not included at all in the gifted program. There was no way for them to qualify. And then when you looked at the program itself in the elementary years, the curriculum was really lacking. The materials weren't the same for both groups of students. So there was a lot of work to be done. So Gloria, it's great to see you. It's great to continue this conversation.
It's been a while.
It's been a while, I know, and it's amazing to see this building.
How transformed it's become,
It's
right?
totally transformed. It's totally transformed from what I remember. So we're now standing in Gary School, and this brings back so many memories. Gary Elementary is the place where we launched the first additive bilingual program, which is dual language. And I'm recalling the planning process that happened before we got to this point, which was the superintendent putting into the strategic plan a goal for the EL students, a task force, the task force actually reading 2 books, and the task force actually visiting sites that were super successful.
And I remember too, along that was so important. Remember, we had a board president that she really pushed us to really develop a stakeholder, a task force that embodied different people to get that feedback, which was really nice.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely essential that school leaders embrace a body that has, every voice represented: teachers, parents, community members, board members.
now we're here at Lehman Middle School.
So you can see how even on into the middle school years, the program continues and enriches the lives of the students.
And so here with me right now is Margarita Vasquez, our coordinator for second language learning, and our superintendent, Christina Davis Salazar. And so over the years, we've been able to expand the dual language program. We've undergone many changes within the program. And Christina, you've been a big part of where we're at right now. Could you kind of tell us the story of how the program has grown to where we're at right now?
So we have expanded the dual language program district-wide, and partly because we know that dual language education as a form of bilingual education is the most beneficial for students. It produces the greatest gains. There's years of research on this in terms of it being an additive, not a subtractive type program. So we have continued to see it as an asset for our students, something that produces gains for all students actually. So I have to go back to in 2015, we were at kind of like a precipice in the program in terms of, are we going to expand, or what are we going to do for this program for these students? Starting the program back in 2000, 2001, we grew exponentially, and there was a point in time we had more students who were trying to enter through the lottery. We were a lottery-based system than we had spots for. So we had done some education for our parents in terms of what was the best program for students. And that year for kindergarten registration, coming out of preschool, we had over 250 students, Spanish speakers, English learners, that had sought entrance into the program, and we didn't have spots. So that was a real turning point for us in terms of, ethically, is this the right thing to do, to turn these families away when we know this is the program that's going to yield the greatest results? So we knew that the best thing to do was to expand and make sure that we had a room for all of these students. But we also knew that this was going to be something that the community might not fully support. We took the time to spend time with our parents, those who did not get in, because they were very disappointed, and said, look, you have the power as parents to help move this forward. If you feel like your children should have the same opportunities that all the other students are having, we need you to tell your story. We need you to be the voice for your children. From that meeting, we had a petition that was signed by all those parents. They had a script that they put together to take to the board to advocate, and we identified one parent who was going to be the spokesperson, and those parents that did not get into the dual language program from that first group in 2015 came to the school board and very politely but very strongly advocated for their program. This was in May, so it was at the end of the school year. And at the end of that meeting, the school board was so compelled by their story in terms of what was important for their children. Out of that meeting, the school board said, okay, we not only want you to expand this program, we want you to do it in August, so immediately, and we want you to include those children that did not get in, plus the next year's grade level.
What did the process look like in terms of working with the teachers?
We formed a task force that included teachers, community members, board members, administrators. We also brought in experts from the field that could help to shape and educate, why this is so important. We also included in that naysayers, people who were very, very against the idea of rolling up this program. And we also included people who were concerned that they were going to lose their teachers, who thought they were going to lose their jobs. So through that task force, we spent the summer really researching why this was important. We talked about what our vision was for our children. We went back to our strategic plan about achievement and looked at our achievement gaps, and we looked at Gary School's achievement versus the achievement of students in the other schools that were not in the dual language program. And from that, with that work, we came out of that with a plan.
I know the goals of an effective dual language program, we want to make sure that their students are coming out bilingual, biliterate, bicultural. And so could you talk a little bit about just even the curriculum, the resource, because that is something that's really important for teachers to have in their hands to be able to support students.
I think that's critical, that when you're starting a dual language program that you understand what the goals are. And the goals are three. You want students to become bilingual, you want them to become biliterate, and you want them to become bicultural. And I think it's really easy to look at that first one and you sort of assume that that's the most important piece, is students becoming bilingual. But really the economic ticket, if you're going to look at it that way, in terms of bilingualism is, and where students benefit over the long run, is in becoming biliterate, knowing how to read and write, listen and speak in 2 languages. And I'd like to take it a step further. That bicultural piece, I think, is the most important, because that's where students really start to see their identities reflected in school, in the curriculum, in their community, when you have a well-implemented dual language program.
Maggie, could you talk a little bit about the programs that we currently have to offer for our students?
One of our programs that we have currently is a preschool program, and that's when students learn in both languages, Spanish and English, throughout their school day. So we really believe all students can become bilingual, and just providing them the resources and the people available in their day to become bilingual, biliterate. Another program that we also have is the special education population, and so the way that we serve our students is really to collaborate with the classroom teacher and the specialist for special education. And one of the ways that we really collaborate is by looking at how our families are also seeing the need of the student, so that we can provide that support at school as well. Other programs that we have is the GATE program, which is a gifted and talented program, and we really want to see our students reflected in that program. So the majority of our students should also be in the GATE program and really see how they're doing and how they're performing holistically in many different areas.
We're actually providing those extracurricular activities for our students that really is so important, that to enhance their culture, to be proud of who they are, proud of who they come, where they come from. And so, we have the Latinos in Action, we have the Baile Folklorico, what am I missing? The mariachi. And this is not just because our students, we do 81% of our students are Latino. However, it's much more than that. Don't you see that that's even evolved where now many of our other students?
I think that is huge in terms of moving from transitional bilingual education to dual language, and that asset-based type approach has really brought that bicultural piece in terms of a good solid dual language program has goals towards bilingualism, biliteracy, and biculturalism. And that bicultural piece is really where things started to take off, and we have now this flourishing cultural arts program. And what's I think neat to see in those programs is it's not just all Latinos, even though we are 81%. We do have students that are not Latino participating in those programs, as opposed to something that you talked about many years ago was a community divided over, we want everyone to learn English and they need to assimilate to the US culture. Now we have this acculturation of everybody wanting to learn from each other, and children seeing this as an asset to be bilingual, biliterate, and bicultural.
And one good thing, like just really seeing the students themselves talk to each other about culture and about language is so refreshing. And they're not even from the same culture or the same language background, but just having those conversations and engaging is so empowering to our students.
And so I'm really proud. I'm really proud of where we're at now, and proud of the community, our teachers, our students, because this definitely exemplifies a strong dual language program, successful. So